Hey everyone, welcome to lesson 86 of UFLI. Today we're going to be talking about the vowel teams for the long O sound, and today is day 1. Take a look at our 5 steps that we are going to be going through today, and we're going to start off with that phonemic awareness. So first I'm going to tap a word, and I want you to blend that together for me. The first word is slow, slow. The next word is throw. The next word is moat, moat, and roast. Good. Now I'm going to tell you a word. I want you to repeat the word and then tap it out for me. The next word is blow. B-o, blow. Toad. Toad, toad. Boast. Boast, boast. Good. That leads us to cha-ching. We're going on to our visual drill. So for example, A spells A spells A. E spells E. E-A spells E. E-Y spells E. A-I spells A. A-Y spells A. I-R spells U-R spells E-R spells O-R spells O-R spells O-R-E spells A-R spells R. Y spells E. Y spells I. Y spells E. D-G-E spells J. G spells G. G spells J. T-C-H spells ch. C-H spells ch. A spells A. A spells A. I spells I. I spells I. O spells A. O spells O. E spells E. E spells E. U spells A. U spells U. U spells ooh. That leads us to cha-ching. Moving on to our auditory drill. So go ahead and grab your whiteboard and marker. You can grab your paper pencil. Whatever works best for you. You can also use your finger right in front of you. The first sound, I'm going to tell you a sound and I want you to write all the ways to spell that sound. So the first sound I want you to spell is E, the long E sound. I have 6 different ways to spell that long E sound. If your board looks like mine, you are correct. Go ahead and erase that, and the next word I would like you, or next sound I would like you to spell is the long A sound. A. A. I have 4 different ways to spell that long A sound. Good. Go ahead and erase that board, and go ahead and try the sound I know of 4 spellings for the sound And remember that O-R spells when a W comes before it. And if I'm ever going a little too fast, you can always pause this video. Next sound, will you please spell or? Spell the sound or. I have 2 different ways for that sound. Good. Next, will you please spell the sound R? R. Just one way. Pretty quick and easy. Good. Next, will you please spell the long I sound? I. I. Good. Remember Y spells I at the end of a 1-syllable word. Good. Next sound I would like you to spell is J. J. Good. I have 3 different ways. If you wrote this on your board or paper, you are correct. However, in my class, if you add that E there at the end, you are even more correct. Good. Last one that we're going to do for today is the ch sound. Please spell ch. We just have 2 ways for that one. Good job. That leads us to cha-ching. Awesome. We're going to move on to that blending drill. I'm just going to show you some words and we're going to blend them together. So for example, I have ish, wish. Good. G-r-a-n, grain. G-r-e-n, green. G-r-i-n, grin. G-r-i-m, grim. G-r-i-m, grime. Notice the bossy E there. K-r-i-m, crime. Ch-i-m, chime. T-i-m, time. T-i-n, tine. T-u-n, tune. T-o-n, tone. T-o-m, tome. T-a-m, tom. Switch to that short ah sound. T-e-m, team. R-e-m, ream. D-r-e-m, dream. D-r-a-m, drum. That leads us to cha-ching. We're going to get started on that new concept. So today we're going to be talking about the long O sound. O, we already know, can be spelt with an O consonant E, like in the word bone, that bossy E telling the O to say its name, so bone. And we also know that O can spell O with an open syllable, like in this word cozy. That O is the last letter of that syllable, so O spells its name O, cozy. Good. Now, we've been talking about vowel teams for a little bit here. Remember, a vowel team is 2 or more letters that work together to make one sound. The vowel team for the long O that we're going to talk about today is OA. OA can spell O, like in the middle of the word boat and in the middle of the word road. Notice how OA is in the middle of those words, boat and road, and OA spells the O sound. OA can also come at the beginning of a word, like in the word oat or oak. Spells O. The next vowel team that we have today is OW. OW can also spell O, and it typically comes at the end of a word, like in the word show or in the word grow. Now, typically it comes at the end, but sometimes it can come in the middle, like in the word bowl or the word flown. Okay, so typically at the end, but it can come in the middle. Now we also have the OE vowel team for O, and OE can spell O always at the end of a word. OE spells O like in the word toe. And so now we have 5 different spellings for the long O sound. And notice that those 3 at the bottom there, those are our new spellings that we're going to be working with for today and tomorrow. Okay, so we're going to read some words with me. So I'm going to notice that I see OA in the middle of that word. And I just learned that OA spells O. So when I tap this word, I'm going to tap R-O-D. Road. I notice OE at the end of this word, and I just learned that OE spells O, so I'm going to tap T-O, toe. Good. Now I'm going to tap this one, O-W-I-C. O-W spells O, so I'm going to tap G-R-O, grow. This one's a multisyllabic word, so we're going to tap W-I-N, win. D-O, dough, window, window. Good job. Okay, now I want you to read these with me. Boat, boat. Coast, coast. Low. Toad, toad. Coach, coach. Show. Own. This is another example where OW comes in the middle / beginning of that word, where we typically would see it at the end. Tap this one. Foe. A foe is kind of like the opposite of a friend. Grown. Yell. Yellow. Good, okay. I'm going to spell some words here and just watch as I do this. To start, the first word that I'm going to spell is coat. Now, when I'm thinking about this word, I'm going to think about what I also just learned. So if I tap it, I'm going to tap coat. Now I hear 3 sounds in that word, so I'm going to write 3 lines just to help me. That first sound is k, and I'm going to spell k with a C. Now the second sound was O-A. Oh, I just told you the spelling. The second sound was O, and I know O spelled O-A typically in the middle of a word, so I'm going to spell O-A. And then the last sound was T for coat. Now, I just wrote C-O-A-T, coat, for the whole word of coat. Good. Okay, now I'm going to spell the next word, which is blow. Blow. I hear B-L-O. Now at the end, I have 2 different spellings that I can spell. And for this one, O-W is the correct one. Blow. Okay, now it's your turn. Go ahead and grab your whiteboard and marker. And I'm going to have you spell some words for me. So the first word I want you to spell is toad. Toad. Where is that long O sound? It's in the middle of the word toad. If you wrote T-O-A-D, you are correct. The next word I want you to spell is grow. Grow. G-R-O. That long O sound is at the end of the word, and it's spelled with O-W. Grow. Next, will you please spell show? Show. O. Show. That long O sound is at the end of a word again, and it is still spelled with O-W. We have 2 more words. The next word I want you to spell is throat. If I tap that one, it's throat. Throat. I hear the O sound in the middle of the word, so I'm going to spell it with O-A. Throat. And remember, go ahead and pause the video if you need to. The last word that we're going to spell today is throw. Throw. O. And we're going to spell that O sound with O-W at the end of a word. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me today for day 1, and I'll see you guys in day 2. Have a great day.